Have you ever felt like you are doing everything right, eating less, training more, cutting sugar, and still nothing changes? It is as if your body just ignores the effort. And deep down, you wonder, what am I still missing? The truth is that no one ever taught us how the body decides when to burn fat and when to store it. No one explained that there are moments when it cleans, renews, and repairs, and others when it simply accumulates whatever it can. We grew up believing that willpower was enough. But there is a specific moment of the day when the body activates a silent mechanism, a mechanism that removes what is damaged and replaces it with what works. Science calls this autophagy a cellular renewal process so powerful that researchers associate it with more energy, less inflammation, and greater longevity. And activating it should not require suffering. What almost no one knows is that there is a shortcut, a single detail capable of sending the body a clear signal, as if saying, you can start the internal cleanup now, no starving, no spending hours staring at the clock. And that is what you are about to discover today. Imagine that the body has two modes, survival and repair. When food is circulating, it focuses on digestion, storage, and quick energy. But when it senses the absence of nutrients, it activates something much deeper, a process of internal cleaning and renewal. This is the principle behind what some researchers call the autophagy hack, accessing the benefits of fasting without actually fasting. While many people still believe fasting means staring at the clock and fighting hunger, science shows another path. There is a way for the body to think it is fasting, even when it is not completely empty. It is not magic, it is biology, interpreting signals. When the brain understands there is no glucose arriving, it shifts gears. In that moment, something subtle happens inside. Old cells begin to be recycled, damaged proteins are removed, and the body prioritizes what matters. People describe this feeling as mental clarity, as if the internal noise finally quiets down. It is not about eating less. It is about freeing metabolic space so the body can do its job. Think of someone trying to fast for the first time. After a few hours, hunger hits and the urge to quit shows up. Now imagine that same person activating fasting mode without that constant battle, simply sending the right signal to the body. That is where the story changes. When the body needs a clear signal that it is time to switch into repair mode, it does not require anything complex. Sometimes the message comes from a single spoonful of extra virgin olive oil. In the method known as olive oil fasting, the olive oil does not enter as food, but as a metabolic communicator. It is as if the body receives a whisper saying, there is no glucose coming in, stay in fasting mode. The main character here is not the fat itself, but a compound found in early harvest olive oils, oleuropein. It is responsible for that slight burn in the throat when the olive oil is truly potent. That burn is not a flaw, it is a sign of strength. It is a natural indicator that you are dealing with an olive oil rich in polyphenols, capable of activating internal processes linked to cellular repair. The scene is simple: a teaspoon, the right olive oil, and a few minutes later you notice hunger slowing down. There is no sugar spike, there is no break in metabolic fasting, just a continuous flow of clean energy. While many people remain trapped in the idea of calories, here the focus is different: biochemical signaling. It does not feed the body, it guides the body. And the most interesting part is that it acts like a bridge. For those who struggle to stay long periods without food, olive oil fasting works as silent support. It does not require extreme willpower or suffering, only consistency. And once this signal arrives, another mechanism begins to activate, something that controls the rhythm of growth and repair inside the cells. Inside every cell, there is a kind of control panel. Two systems share that space: mTOR, linked to building and storing, and AMPK, associated with repair and efficiency. One speeds things up, the other slows things down. Like two opposite buttons, they never operate at full strength at the same time. When AMPK activation occurs, the body interprets the moment as ideal for conserving energy and starting internal cleaning processes. When mTOR dominates, the focus is growth, accumulation, and a pause in cellular renewal. During intelligent fasting, the goal is to reduce mTOR activity so AMPK can do its job. That is where oleuropein, found in high-quality extra virgin olive oil, comes into play. It sends a signal very similar to real fasting: there is no glucose coming in. Switch to repair mode. Studies published in the Journal of Nutritional Biochemistry suggest that this type of stimulus supports the recycling of damaged proteins inside the cells. While you simply go about your routine, a silent process is happening inside you. And if this is starting to make sense, it may be worth saving this part to watch again later. Also, if this content is helping you see fasting differently, consider subscribing to the channel. That way you will not miss the next steps, and take the chance to comment. Have you ever tried any kind of fasting before? When the body understands that it is not time to store energy, something subtle begins to happen inside the cells. Small structures called lysosomes go into action, identifying what is no longer useful, misfolded proteins, accumulated waste, fragments that disrupt normal function. It is like opening windows and letting fresh air circulate in a house that has been closed for years. This process has a name: autophagy, the cellular cleaning cycle. It is not something we feel on the surface, but it is one of the most important mechanisms for keeping the body functional over time. Instead of creating more inflammation by forcefully eliminating what is damaged, the body recycles, repurposes, transforms, it cleans before rebuilding. Researchers at the University of Tokyo describe this stage as essential to preventing the accumulation of waste that could become chronic damage over time. Autophagy acts like a filter, recognizing what is useful and discarding what gets in the way. When this cleaning process is active, many people report a feeling of mental lightness, as if the internal noise fades. And the interesting part is that while this process is happening, you are not putting in any effort. You are simply living your day, walking, working, thinking. The body does its part in silence. And as this cleaning progresses, another deep consequence begins to emerge: the removal of structures that age the body from the inside out. As autophagy progresses, it finds a specific type of cell, senescent cells. These are old, damaged cells that no longer serve a purpose, yet they do not die. They remain there, like tenants refusing to leave a condemned building. These cells release inflammatory signals and disrupt the functioning of the healthy cells around them. Aging from the inside out, slowly and quietly, science calls this process inflammaging, chronic inflammation associated with aging. We do not feel pain and there is no immediate alarm, but over time it interferes with mood, energy, and even how the body responds to food. When autophagy is active, these cells are deactivated or removed, freeing space for new cells to function more efficiently. It is like replacing burnt-out light bulbs in a house. Suddenly, the environment feels brighter and more alive. Studies suggest that removing senescent cells may contribute to better quality of life. With more energy and faster recovery after daily activities. Source: Nature Medicine. It is not a promise of eternal youth. It is the maintenance of internal health. And when the body finally gets rid of those cells that were interfering with the work of others, something interesting begins to happen. The energy that was once used to put out fires can now be redirected toward renewal. And this opens the door to an even deeper process: the replacement and recycling of mitochondria, the power plants inside the cells. When the cells are already clean and free of waste, the process moves to an even deeper level. The mitochondria, they act like tiny power plants that produce energy. Over time, however, some become damaged and start generating more oxidative stress than energy. This is where mitophagy comes in, the mechanism responsible for mitochondrial cleanup, the removal and replacement of defective mitochondria. The scene is almost surgical. The body identifies the problematic units, tags each one, and directs them into the recycling process. In return, new mitochondria are formed, younger, more efficient, and capable of producing energy with far less effort. Studies published in Cell Metabolism indicate that this renewal may contribute to better physical and mental performance over time. When new mitochondria take over, something noticeable happens. Energy stops fluctuating. Instead of highs and lows throughout the day, a calm stability emerges. It feels like silent strength. It is not euphoria, it is not a boost, it is consistency. People describe it as clarity. The brain feels more awake, the body feels lighter. With this renewed energy, the body finally has space to move beyond maintenance. It begins to prepare for a next stage of adaptation. The immune system starts operating with more intelligence and efficiency, recognizing threats with greater precision and adjusting inflammation only where it truly matters. With the body cleaner and energy more stable, something subtle happens within the immune system. Defense cells start responding with greater precision. as if they received an updated map showing exactly where to act. Autophagy helps renew worn-out immune cells, allowing the body to identify real threats more quickly and waste less energy reacting to what does not matter. Imagine an internal surveillance team that used to be slow and had to guess where to act. Now it operates with clarity, efficiency, and economy. Studies suggest that when cellular recycling processes are active, the immune response becomes more balanced and less prone to unnecessary inflammation. Source: Frontiers in Immunology. It is not about having a stronger system, but a more intelligent one. This balance makes a difference in everyday moments. Fewer waves of unexplained fatigue, fewer episodes of low energy after meals, and a body that reacts more coherently to external demands. It is like replacing an improvised crew with highly trained professionals, silent, efficient, and consistent. With the immune system adjusted, the next step begins to take shape. The body starts accessing a new ability, the capacity to switch more easily between different energy sources, reducing constant dependence on glucose and increasing the use of stored fat as fuel. As the body becomes more efficient, it begins to switch the type of fuel it uses. Instead of depending exclusively on glucose, which requires constant insulin release, it learns to use fat as the primary source of energy. This process reduces hunger swings and improves stability throughout the day. It is the beginning of what many researchers associate with insulin resistance reversal. When insulin is no longer triggered repeatedly, something shifts in the metabolic rhythm. The body becomes more sensitive to the hormone and stores less energy as fat. It is not about eating less or suffering through restrictions. It is about teaching the body to access the fuel it already has, turning stored fat into available energy. Silent, steady. This shift often creates an interesting effect in daily life. Hunger loses its urgency. That feeling of "I need to eat right now" becomes rare. In its place, there is a stable sense of energy, as if someone turned down the volume of food anxiety. This experience is commonly described by people who adopt intelligent fasting or the strategic use of high-quality fats throughout the day. And when this metabolic flexibility becomes natural, the body reaches a new type of stability. Without sharp spikes and drops in energy, the brain receives a consistent fuel supply. This opens the door to something even more powerful: the use of ketones as a source of energy for focus and mental clarity. When the body learns to use fat as fuel, it produces a molecule different from glucose, ketones. They are not just an alternative energy source. They act as metabolic messengers. When ketones are circulating, the brain receives steady and clean fuel without sudden shifts. The mind feels more awake, as if someone turned down the internal noise so thinking becomes sharper. Some people complement this state with MCTC8 or exogenous ketones, not out of necessity, but because these compounds increase ketone production more quickly. Research shows that ketones can activate genes linked to longevity, such as FOXO3, and may support a more balanced inflammatory response. Source: Cell Reports. It is not about having more energy. It is about having smarter energy. This quiet fuel leads to a unique experience. There is no euphoria, no hyperactivity. It is focus. It is clarity. It is that type of concentration where time seems to slow down and the mind feels lighter. Many people describe it as a feeling of presence, different from the anxious energy that sugar usually causes. With mental energy stabilized and the body operating in repair mode, one final piece becomes essential for making this entire process consistent: choosing the right olive oil. Not all olive oils activate the same mechanisms. Some contain powerful polyphenols, while others have almost none. Not all olive oil has the power to stimulate cellular repair processes. The difference lies in the polyphenols, especially oleuropein. Light and mild olive oils usually go through filtering processes that remove most of these compounds. The type of olive oil that matters for intelligent fasting is early harvest, more intense, with that slight burn in the throat. That burn is a natural signal. It indicates the presence of polyphenols that send the fasting command to the body. In practice, the stronger the tingling sensation in the throat, the higher the likelihood that you are dealing with an olive oil rich in these compounds. On the label, the terms early harvest, high polyphenols, or cold pressed are good indicators. Another clue is the color. Darker olive oils with a deep green tone usually come from olives. Harvested while still young, when polyphenol concentration is higher. It is not about aesthetics, it is visual biochemistry. You can literally see when the olive oil is more potent. A small spoonful can make a difference in the metabolic signal sent to the body. Choosing the right olive oil is like choosing the right tool for a delicate task. Without the correct ingredient, the body does not receive the stimulus it needs to stay in repair mode. But when that signal is sent properly, there is only one attitude that can compromise the entire process. There is one simple mistake that can shut down the entire intelligent fasting process: mixing olive oil with carbohydrates. When this happens, insulin rises, the body interprets that food is available, and switches back to growth mode. It is as if all the repair work is suddenly interrupted. The quality of the olive oil does not matter. If glucose is present, the fasting signal is cancelled. Another important point is heat. Heating olive oil destroys part of the polyphenols responsible for sending the metabolic signal. That is why you should not use olive oil in the pan or in the oven during this phase. Here, it works as a signal, not as cooking fat. A spoonful consumed without heat preserves its potency. It is also common for someone to try to improve the process by adding other foods. But with this strategy, less is more. It is not about creating a meal, it is about keeping the body in repair mode. A small amount of the right olive oil is enough to maintain the desired metabolic state. There is no need to add eggs, bread, fruit, or any carbohydrate. With these precautions, the signal remains clear. The body understands that it is time to continue recycling, cleaning, and renewing. And with this foundation established, the next step shows how to apply this protocol in practice, in a simple, accessible, and effortless way. The practical application is simpler than it seems. The night before, no drastic changes. A normal dinner, nothing extreme, just the foods you are already used to eating. The important part happens the next day. When you wake up, no breakfast, no calories from carbohydrates, just water and the protocol. Every 2 or 3 hours, you follow the sequence. A small spoonful of extra virgin olive oil, preferably early harvest, followed by a spoonful of MCTC8 or exogenous ketones. This combination keeps the body in repair mode, sustains mental clarity, and extends the metabolic state similar to fasting. No intense hunger, no sudden drop in energy. It is a process that flows with the rhythm of the day. You keep working, moving, living. Energy comes steadily, without the typical glucose highs and lows. Some people prefer to use the protocol on lighter days, others on days that require focus and high productivity. There is no right or wrong, there is strategy. As the day progresses and the body has remained in this repair state for hours, the feeling of lightness becomes noticeable. At that moment, the experience stops being theory and becomes a result. In the end, it all comes down to this: when you send the right signal, the body responds. It does not need suffering, only direction. Now that you know how to activate cellular repair, how to maintain stable energy, and even teach your body to use fat as fuel, the question is not, does it work? The question is, are you going to give yourself the chance to feel this in practice? If this content made sense to you, save the video so you can test the protocol later. And tell me in the comments, do you intend to try this method at least once? If you want to keep learning and evolving with intention, consider subscribing to the channel and turning on notifications. This content is for informational purposes only and does not replace professional medical advice. Results may vary. Always consult a healthcare professional before making drastic changes to your diet or training routine. Your body knows what to do. You just need to allow it.